Hey everyone, this is my first YouTube note, so please bear with me. I apologize if there's any glitches whatsoever or plenty of teacher errors, which I'm sure there will be. Today we are going to focus on volumes of prisms. For Math 7 Accelerated, this is going to be notes number 39. And our big goal for today is how to find the volume of a prism. Okay. Volume, here's the definition or the rule for it. The volume of a three-dimensional figure is the measure of the amount of space that it occupies. So you've asked this to me already. Anytime we are looking at volume of something, we are going to look at units cubed. That's what our answer is going to be in. When we think about like the volume of a rectangular prism, which most of you already know, you know that there's going to be three dimensions, length and width and height. Because there are 3 dimensions there, I know that I have to have units cubed, whatever those units are. We've talked about area. Area is 2 dimensions because it's only length and width, for example, and perimeter is just going all the way around, which is 1 dimension. But anytime we're talking about volume, our answer has to be units cubed. Okay, let's look specifically at the volume of a prism. Here I have the volume V, which is going to be represented by the variable V, of a prism is the product of the area of the base and the height of the prism. So this is just a general formula class. Obviously there are different shapes or different types of prisms. For example, this is a rectangular prism. This is a triangular prism. So just to have a general formula, this is what we're going to be looking at. The volume is going to be the area of whatever that base is, multiplied, hence product, of the height. So in this case, our base here is a rectangle. So I'm going to find the area of that rectangle and then multiply it by the height. I would do the same thing here. The base shape here is a triangle. And so to find the area, the volume of that, I'm going to find the area of the base and multiply it by the height. This formula here is one that you need to know, obviously, is the area of a triangle, which is going to be 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Okay, so that's just in general. Now let's take a look specifically at example 1, finding the volume of a prism. And this prism here is a rectangular prism. So let's just make sure we write that, rectangular. And because I know that the base is going to be a rectangle, I know that the area of the base is length and width. So this is just in general, like I said, most of you know this. The volume is literally just going to be length times width times height. But I also know that if I'm using this formula, the area of the base is length times width. That's just normal, that's what you guys know. And then we just multiply by the height, the 3rd dimension there. Like I said, most of you know this, so I'm not too worried about this formula for you guys. We're just going to plug in what we know, but before I do that, I want to just label what we have here. This is going to be representing our length. Okay, L is length. This is going to represent our width. And let's say that this represents our height. Okay, so when I put this all into my formula, I'm going to get my length is 6, my width is 8, and my height is 15. So I'm just going to multiply that out. You don't have to do it in this specific order. This is just one way to do it. Just multiply straight across. I'm going to get volume equals 6 times 8, which is, hopefully you guys know, is 48, and then multiply by 15 at the end. Again, you guys are at home right now, so you have the option of a calculator, or even if you were in class, I'd give you a calculator for this as well. This is going to be 720. 48 times 15 is 720. So because, again, we are looking at volume, I'm not going to just put it 720. I got to look at my units. My units are yards, so it's going to be yards cubed. And that is my answer. Okay. This, like I said, is a very basic formula that I know a lot of you know, so again, I'm not too worried about that, but do understand that's the area of the base times the height. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and we're going to take a look at example 2. Now, we also have another prism here, but this prism is a triangular prism. I know it's kind of maybe hard for some of you to see, but the base here is a triangle. Okay, so I'm just going to label this as a triangular prism. Okay, the most important part is knowing what your base is for this, so you can apply the formula to it. Again, I'm going to use volume equals base times height. Well, my base is a triangle, and I need to know what the area of this. So remember, I said base times height, but really this is the area of the base times the height. So the formula for that, for the area of the base, I'm just going to do the one that a lot of us have used in class already, is base times height divided by 2. It's the same thing as 1/2 base times height. It's the same thing. But I think a lot of you like to divide by 2 at the end instead of multiplying by the fraction. And then multiply by my height again. Okay, the height of the triangular prism, not the height of the triangle. So I need to make sure I label everything so I know what I'm working with here. This is going to be, here, let me use, this color. Let's label this class as the height of the prism. Okay, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, because this height is kind of hard to identify because our triangular prism is on its side. It's not on the actual base, which is the triangle. Okay, this here is the base of our base of the base, which is a triangle. Okay, I'm going to put a little triangle symbol. Okay, this, I'm going to use the same color. This is the height of our base. Okay, height of the base, which again is our triangle. Okay, so these are two different heights. This is the height of the prism itself. This is the height of the base. Okay, so I got to put that in the formula. I'm going to put volume equals the base of my actual base here, because this is the area of the base, is 5.5. Oops, sorry about that. It is going to be 5.5, and I'm going to multiply by the height of my base. So here's the base again. This is the height of my base, which is 2. And then I'm going to take whatever that is, divide it by 2, because this is the formula for the area of a triangle. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply by my height. Again, this height is the height of my prism, so this is going to be multiplying by 4. Okay, as a side note, class, I'm going to write that here because I realize that some of us don't know. Area of a triangle. Okay, so this is going to equal our big B. Okay, this is going to be 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Okay, the area of the triangle. Our base is a triangle. Okay, I want to make sure I emphasize that. This is why we're using this formula for here, because this is what our base is. Big B stands for the base, the area of the base. Okay, big B stands for the area of the base. And I should probably write that on the front, so I'm going to flip it back over. okay? Or emphasize that. You see it right here. This is the area of our base. I guess I didn't need to write it. It's right here, okay? I'm gonna flip it back over. And this is class where I'm gonna ask you to show me your work for this. I'm gonna help you guys set it up, but I'm gonna ask that you take a picture of your notes entirely, or just specifically these two problems. You may also type it into the Google Slides that I have for you, but I need you to find the volume of these prisms. This is a cube, okay? And this is, again, a triangular prism. So take a look at the two examples that we just did. And a cube, as a hint, guys, is very similar to a rectangular prism. So volume equals area of our base times our height. Volume equals area of the base times the height. But you got to be able to identify what our base is. Our base here is a square. So I hope that you guys can use the formula hint, length and width and height. Okay, for this one. This one, look at our base. Our base is not a square or a rectangle, it's a triangle. Okay? So that you guys know if you're on the right track or not, because again, I'm going to be focusing primarily on your work, just seeing if you're actually doing it. I'm going to give you the answers to it. So take a look here. The answer to number 1 is going to be 64 feet cubed, so I need to see your work for that. Okay, the answer here is going to be 270 meters cubed. Okay, again, the answers are here so you know if you're on the right track, but I want to see your work in Google Classroom in our Google Slides. All right, again, if there's any questions, class, please let me know. What I do like about these YouTube notes is that you are able to pause anytime you want and rewatch it. So again, if there's any questions that you have, please send them to me, email them to me. I hope that you all are doing well with our time off. All right.